I'll be honest, I thought he was controversial, but I was definitely ignorant to what was going on in that area. And I can admit that. And it was definitely, I wish we could have gone back and...
What's going on, you guys? Bassem Youssef was shutting down the Nelk Boys. The Nelk Boys decided to do an interview with Netanyahu. Bassem Youssef sat them down and talked to them straight up. Let's get into it.
Audience that is not like socialist, lefty, democratic. It's more of, as you say, like a prank thing. And they apparently lost a bunch of members. I read that in the New York Times. And so they're trying to walk it back because they did a softball interview with the Hitler of our time. And Bassem Youssef, comedian, phenomenal voice for Palestinian liberation, went on their show and just, as you say, Matt, dressed them down, sent them to detention here, gave them wedgies and said, grow up, fellas.
A Jewish wall.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely admit that. I mean, I think we were both just ignorant to what was going on over there. And obviously, you know, I knew he was, I'll be honest, I thought he was controversial, but I was definitely ignorant to what was going on in that area. And I can admit that. And it was definitely, I wish we could have gone back and, you know, had 2 weeks to sit down with someone like yourself and just, we should have grilled him 50,000, 100,000 times harder, but something we can't get back, and we'll probably always regret
of course,
that,
but I know you can't get back this like trip in Israel, but I'm just telling you, this was like part of a much bigger propaganda effort, right? And a country that spends $150 million on its image, they are covering something. They when they spread all of these propaganda, it's like, we're not starving people in Gaza. You understand that this conversation has been happening for 2 years. First of all, I'm not absolving you from your trip. You guys are not little kids. You are fucking 30 years old, right? People in your age have families and they have a career, and you need to stop. I'm just saying this because you're my little brothers, but you're not little, right? You need to stop infantilizing yourself. It's like, we're just stupid people doing stupid stuff. You're 30 years old and you need to be aware of what's happening in the world, and that your reach and your platforms mean something. And it affects people. And I think the biggest reason why people were so upset for you, not because you brought someone and you didn't contest him, that it is the talking point that he used is the same talking points that have been used for 2 years to kill thousands of people.
And at the end of the day, I don't know how much journalistic integrity you can expect from the Nelk Boys, quote unquote, the Full Send podcast. It's just, I mean, what are we doing here? Like, are we going to really expect any of these guys to really give a straight interview, anything of actual substance? But I do always appreciate watching someone tell another, like, sort of laying it all out there, letting them know just sort of how big of a freaking joke they are. So Bassem Youssef, you know, hats off to you for sure.
Boom. I mean, I'm not going to infantilize you. So I didn't know how old they were until he just said it. And yeah, that makes it a lot worse. Whoa.
And that's the thing, is they even introduced the podcast saying, look, guys, this is probably the most controversial thing to do, and we're not qualified to do it, but we're probably going to hear a lot about it, because this is a sort of money for nothing. There's nothing matters reality. We're just businessmen. If all content is about getting views to up your revenue, then this does make sense. Why do you need to know about anything other than people are going to pay attention to this? It turns out that the world doesn't. That's not actually a way to ground yourself in the world, and you'll end up doing insane stuff, like having a guy doing a genocide and asking him, and famine, by the way, and ask him, does he like Whoppers or Big Macs? And
I'm glad to see him kind of push back in this way, because frankly, our social media companies desperately need regulation on this front. These are platforms that people are increasingly using to absorb information that in the past would have been on television, and that was regulated by our government, obviously deregulated and giving way for Fox News and other partisan media by Ronald Reagan and other administrations in the 80s. I'm forgetting exactly the timeline off the top of my head. But these social media platforms have to be regulated, because this is like a broad spreading of misinformation that is accessible to people only because these podcasts are basically putting a for sale sign around their necks and saying, like, I'm here just for clicks, engagement. This is the business model, is that. Whether it's the Jubilee thing, having on avowed Nazis so that you get more engagement because of the inflammatory nature of having Mehdi Hassan have to speak to somebody like that. Or whether it's having Benjamin Netanyahu on, and maybe that's inflammatory, or maybe Israel is just saying, hey, we'll give you a bunch of goodies in exchange for that. We saw this with the Russia stuff, with Tim Pool and Dave Rubin. Like, these are so underregulated, these shows, that they're basically just receiving dark money grants from groups. We don't know who they are. We found out about the Russia thing because there was an investigation into it.
I completely agree with Emma Vigeland. I think that, you have at this certain point, the independent media has been compromised. That back in the day, you had all of these different news stations. You would have just Fox, CBS, NBC, and these were the ways that the powers at be were able to talk to the masses. They knew this. This was sort of the conduit for it. The mediums, the all agreed upon channels. Now, there's been sort of a little bit more of an evolution that's going on. You have these people that are on these YouTube pages that are now trusted, right? You have people like Joe Rogan. You have people even like Tim Pool, for instance, as Emma Vigeland had mentioned. And yeah, everyone eventually, I mean, maybe not everyone, but especially in some of these spaces, most of these guys do have a price. You can buy them off, and you can say, hey, look, can you sell this product for me? Can you say that you use this product? And it goes the exact same way with policy. It's saying, hey, can you push this policy for me? I mean, it's just lobbying again in its most simplified form of telling someone to tell others who has influence, say, this is what I agree with, you guys should agree with me, and just grifting nonstop bullcrap.
And because obviously it has like these national security implications, but we have no idea how some of these other media sources are being funded.
Yeah, I mean, I like how their whole sort of posture is a guy in a post-game press conference after their team lost. Like, look, I wish I could have that one back. Ball went right through my legs. Get it again next time. But this sort of the fallacy. I mean, this is the problem of that we're dealing with the death of the old media and rise of the new. Is that a lot of the problems that we could identify in corporate media is very easily reproduced in quote unquote independent media or new media because it's just actually profit and people seeking profit and also who can give you money to do a show to make it profitable is entrenched status quo interests. I don't know what the solution is as far as regulation of stuff, because I think the stuff I'm seeing, and Taylor Renz has been on this, with the basically real ID stuff for social media seems like a nightmare. I kind of think that, at least on this front, this is a little bit of self-regulation going on here. That's somewhat hopeful to me, because these guys did not benefit from having Netanyahu on. They've taken a tremendous amount of flack for it. And the weird thing right now is, we have this contradiction between all these social media and new media things owned by psychos, but also people are willing to see a genocide through that lens anyway. And part of it, I think, is just because this stuff has developed in a way that is useful to surveillance, but everyone can surveil now. And so we're all being able to basically surveil Israel in a way that, frankly, they don't want us to. And so that's the fight here. And I think basically this clip and the Crystal Slotkin thing is this new world we're entering where, look, establishment media is dead. Like we were talking before the show, we don't read the New York Times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over it. I used to check it every morning, and I don't get anything from what I read there. Like,
there we have it, you guys. We have Bassem Youssef as well as Emma Vigeland from the Majority Report going in on the Nelk boys. And yeah, I really enjoy the points that they made as far as this is something that is very, very serious. You can't just co-sign, have the prime minister, I believe he's the prime minister of Israel, on your podcast and, you know, just not grill him whatsoever. You have the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to get real answers, to be able to hold someone accountable in the name of journalism, to really speak to someone and get, you know, put them, I don't want to say get them on the ropes because you don't want to attack anyone necessarily, but really get them to have a chance to maybe self-reflect, maybe say, yeah, what am I doing right now? You can actually affect someone whenever you're talking to them, right? And if you're going to do nothing but just enable someone's behavior, which in turn is causing, you know, this genocide to occur, I mean, I just, to me, it's hard to look past that. It's hard to turn a blind eye to who you are if you're going to let that happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, so it's another day in the progressive way.